Hey everybody, how you doing today, YouTube? Big Z here. So you're thinking about becoming a truck driver? You've seen the great money that you can make, and you probably watched some YouTube videos about it, or you've heard about it on the radio that you can make $80,000 a year as a truck driver. Well, the adventure of seeing places you want to see and going places that you want to go begins when you make the decision to go to school. You got to have a CDL. So the first step is choosing your trucking company. What kind of freight do you want to haul? When choosing a trucking company, there are many questions to ask to help you choose the right one for you. But unfortunately, you don't know what those are right now. So this video will try to get you started in the right direction. Will they hire you? Yes, trust me. A better question would be, are you breathing? If you're breathing, there's a trucking company out there that will hire you. Do you have a medical problem, like high blood pressure? Well, as long as you're taking medication, generally, it's not a problem except for diabetes. Do you have a felony conviction? Well, just Google trucking companies that hire felons, and they will have a long list of companies that hire people with felony convictions. Do you have a DUI or DWI? Well, that's more of a problem. But if it was a while ago, and I mean a few years, like 3 to 5 years ago minimum, and you've quit drinking as much, then it will not be a problem. So pretty much there are plenty of companies that will hire you. But the biggest problem is money. Do you have the money or credit to put yourself through CDL school? If you do have the resources to pay your way, the world opens up to you, and trucking companies will come to the school while you are learning and try to get you to come to work for them. They will bring you gifts and sweet talk you into thinking that they are the best. Just choose whether you want to pull a dry van, a reefer, flatbed, or tanker, and then choose the company that pays the most in that category and go there, because in the end, all trucking companies are the same. You will be micromanaged, you will work day and night, you will be forced to drive in snow, wind, rain, traffic, and darkness. You will go to the East Coast and drive all day in New Jersey traffic looking for an empty trailer. You will drive up and down narrow mountain roads in the snow because your company didn't pay tolls and you don't have enough cash on you to cover the toll cost since they don't take credit cards. You will curse the day that you thought driving a truck was a good thing to do. Now, if you get a good driver manager, you can make some money. How much? About 30 grand at the worst companies, maybe 40 grand at the best, in your first year, that is. And no, not the 55 or 60 or $80,000 your recruiter or the fake news headlines said you would make. At least not your first year. But you may get closer to those numbers your second year. The big money only comes when you own your own truck or know someone and get a job at a higher paying company after 3 or more years experience. I know you heard on the radio average wages are $80,000 a year. Well, that's just a lie. For new drivers, it's around 30 grand, even at the great companies. And why? Well, you don't know how to drive. You don't know how to plan your trip. You will be given the worst loads because you have no experience. And we'll talk about more on that in later videos. So that pretty much sums up all of you that have the money to go to CDL school. And what about you guys that don't have the money to go to CDL school? Well, with no experience and no CDL and no money, you have limited choices. You're probably going to have to go with a mega carrier because they will pay for your schooling. They'll give you the money up front for your schooling and your room and board, but they will ask for a commitment. That means a contract to drive for them for a period of time. And generally that period of time is anywhere from 10 months to 3 years after you get your CDL license, depending on the company. Meaning that you have to drive for them for that period of time, and they will own you unless you pay them a really huge amount of money to buy your freedom from that contract. So how much to buy out your contract? Well, generally twice what it would have cost you to just pay for the school itself. But remember, you have no money or credit, so what choice do you have? Now, they do pay you for that driving time. They pay you at a lower rate than what you would have gotten had you paid for your own schooling. Celadon, Swift, CRST, CR England are just a few examples of this type of trucking company. And I don't mean to make them sound bad, because they aren't bad. They're paying for your schooling. They're paying for your room and board. You are getting to drive a truck, granted at a cheap price, but that's part of paying for your schooling. So keep that in mind when you're out there and there's 8 inches of snow on the ground and they've just closed the road. Now, the next thing is, and this is something that no one else will tell you, little piece of information for you. All trucking companies that hire inexperienced drivers are the same. That's right. They'll all treat you the same. They all work you similar hours. They all work you the same way. They're all the same. And you will be wondering to yourself, what have I got myself into throughout the entire first year? It doesn't matter which company you go to work for. They're all the same. Let that soak in. They are all the same. But things really change after the first year. So stay tuned. Watch for our next video. Now, if you get your CDL on your own, or you can go to school that a company pays for, those are your choices. So choose wisely. So what did I do? I chose CRST. There's a couple of reasons why I did. I didn't want to take the money out of my savings or go into debt that would show up on my credit report to go to school. And CRST only asks for a 10-month contract, the smallest amount of time from any of the companies that will pay for your schooling. And I called them all, and I got hired by everyone I called. May not be the best place to work, but it is not the worst. And I went to school in Dallas. They also have company schools in Riverside, California, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and Florida. Riverside and Cedar Rapids have dorm rooms in the terminal. So I've only been to Riverside, seems okay, but you have community showers like a locker room. You don't have an individual shower like a hotel. Now, I'll talk about Dallas because that's where I went to school. Oh, and I might tell you that Riverside has a cafeteria and the food is good. A little pricey, but, you know, it is good. Good food. All right, now the Dallas school, you stay in a hotel. The hotel's nice. It's not bad. I mean, it's not the best. It's not, but it's better than Motel 6 or Super 8. You got a microwave and refrigerator in your room. You will have a roommate. If you do not get along, you can request a different roommate. Now, they provide breakfast and a boxed lunch. Breakfast is good. The boxed lunch is a sandwich, an orange, 2 cookies, and chips. I filled up on breakfast. Oh yes, the hotel people will rat you out if you drink alcohol in your room or around the hotel, so don't drink. And definitely don't smoke pot. You can't drive if you have been drinking even the day before, so just don't do it. Now, they provide a shuttle to the school and the driving range. It leaves every morning, comes back, close of business that afternoon. The range is all outdoors, so if it rains or snows or cold or windy, you're outdoors. Now, they do have a trailer there that's got a heater in it, but no air conditioning. So get some sunscreen and wear appropriate clothes. And I mean, good shoes, not flip-flops. They said there was a shuttle that goes to the Walmart weekdays, but I never found it. There is a grocery store which is a long block away from the hotel, so you can get food for supper. And then Saturday and Sunday you're off, so you got to fend for yourself Saturday and Sunday. They don't even provide breakfast or lunch on Saturday or Sunday. The hotel gets pretty small after a couple of days, and if you don't get along with your roommate, well, you got to get out of there. Plus, you just need a break. So I brought my own car, and I'm glad I did. And I'd recommend, if you have a car, bring your car to school. They tell you don't, but I'm telling you, do. I guess you could Uber, but then that'd cost you some money. And you're in school because you're in that situation because you don't have a lot of money, so why waste it on Uber? All right, so you check into your hotel on Sunday and you start classes on Monday. So the first day you do paperwork, you do your medical tests if you did not get your medical card before you go to school. Now, I got my learner's permit and my medical card before I went to school. The medical card costs 75 bucks, and you have to have it before you can take your learner's permit. Why get your learner's permit before you go to a school that's going to teach you how to get your CDL? Well, because you have a 14-day waiting period after you get your learner's permit before you can take the driving test to get your CDL, which means you're going to be in that school 2 weeks after you pass your CDL learner's permit tests. And 2 weeks is going to cost you, well, they say 650 bucks. But if you wait that first week to do paperwork and study for all your tests and take all your tests the first week, then you got to wait 2 weeks before you can take your driver's test. That means you'll be there 3 weeks. Now you're up at $1,000. And if you fail even one or two of those tests, you got to wait a day before you can take that same test again. Now you're up at 4 weeks before you can take your driving test. Now you're up at $1,300, and you got to pay that back with 18% interest. So think about that. I mean, that adds up to some real money. But if you don't have the 75 bucks for your medical card, well, just wait until you get there and pile on more debt. All right, so you pass your CDL tests and you get your learner's permit. Now you get to go to the range. The range is where you learn to drive the truck. We had such a big class, they took half the people and let them start driving the first week, and the other half of the people did backing the first week. And I don't think it really matters which one you do in what order. I started backing the first week. I did 4 days of backing, then I did 3 days of driving forward, and I went and took my test on the 7th day, or the 8th day actually, and passed it. So I was out of there in basically 12 days, which was great. Once you pass your driving test, then you go to orientation. I went to orientation in Oklahoma City. Orientation is 4 days. The people that ran the terminal in Oklahoma City are great. They provide a nice hotel. There's a shuttle that takes you out to the terminal in the morning, takes you back to the hotel in the afternoon, and they do have a shuttle that takes you to Walmart, because once again, you get breakfast and lunch, you're on your own for supper, and the hotel they keep you at is quite a ways from any inexpensive food. A lot of restaurants around, but they're pretty pricey. And then during orientation, once again, you take another urine test. Now, CRST does urine tests. Other companies do hair tests in addition to the urine test. So worried about the hair test because that goes back 90 days, then Google it. It'll tell you the companies that do hair tests. And you will get caught if you're doing drugs. They will send you home immediately, and you will not get rehired. I can guarantee you that. All right, and then at orientation, you get your employee ID. You get your pay card, which they use ComCheck, ComData for your pay card and your checks, which is great. And then you sign your contract for the 10 months, and on Thursday you get picked up by your trainer and head out for your training. Now, I was all excited. I got through everything, and I was excited about getting my trainer. Of course, he doesn't show up till about 11 o'clock Thursday night, and then he turns out to be the trainer from hell. And we'll tell you about the training in our next video. If you like it, subscribe. This is the Big Z. I'll talk to you later.